let's get to a fun story.
Is it, Saagar?
Involves me personally.
Is it?
Well, I get to say it here, so it's not totally a loss on my side. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Cryptocurrency lender BlockFi has now filed for bankruptcy, the latest casualty in the crypto turmoil after FTX's collapse. Now, full disclosure, and I will get to the exact dollar amount, I had a sizable sum on BlockFi, of which I had long been a customer of theirs, and so this actually personally hurts.
What BlockFi is, like, where did they fit in the ecosystem? What did they actually do?
It was, okay, so at its core, it was a trading platform, but the core innovation that the major players, BlockFi, Gemini, and a few others had is their ability to pay very high interest on crypto assets. So the idea would be, and this is what some of us fell for, was that you could take an asset which is fully convertible to US dollars, like GUSD, Gemini US dollar coin, pegged 1-to-1. You could buy that. They would take your dollars and effectively loan it out as leverage for trading on its platform. Meantime, you had a token which was fully convertible, and they were paying you interest on that. So you
put your money in, they go and
they use your actual dollars to loan out. So if I wanted to make leveraged bets on their platform, I could do so. And I could take loans based on the value of my assets. Me, as a customer, why was I taking advantage of it? Well, the best way to think of it is essentially like a mega high interest banking account. As in, you show me a place in 2021 which is paying 9% interest on dollars. So that's what I was taking advantage of. Some of us didn't pull it out at the right moment. And it turns out that, well, FDIC exists for a reason, guys. Learn from my pain. It's basically like having money in the bank in like the 1920s, during the crash of 29, when they're like, your money's not in the bank anymore. You're like, wait, what do you mean?
Where is it?
Yeah, so anyway, we invented a lot of capital controls on banks and regulations after the fact. This is essentially one of the reasons they were able to pay such high interest rates is because they had such leverage and large bets being placed on the platform. It wasn't as egregious as FTX, but it was essentially financial instrumentation that was being developed at a more sophisticated level for crypto as the asset prices went up.
Well, and partly, and we'll get to this, they got in trouble with the SEC for not sort of acknowledging that these accounts and this money was basically securities. And so they had to pay, they had a massive settlement, $100 million, with the SEC over failing to fully disclose and register these accounts as securities, which was what they really were.
Correct. And so let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen, the Wall Street Journal piece, which is what they point to. This shows you as well the $30 million that you referenced.
They still owe to the SEC.
To the SEC. What they point to actually in the Journal collapse is that this is all still linked to FTX. So there were two things existentially a problem for BlockFi. Number one was the overall downturn in crypto because, and this shows you really the fakery, which is they were using the asset price of the crypto highly volatile asset and then borrowing dollars based upon that. So, but then you essentially get margin called when you have assets that are, going to diminish in price by 300% or whatever over a period of 1 year. That was already a major blow to the company. But really what put them over the edge was FTX because they had a huge stake actually in FTX and many of the tokens that, again, there were things being borrowed against the value of those tokens, which go to zero overnight. So this is FTX contagion. I mean, this was a multi-billion-dollar company. It had a lot of assets. It now it has 10 creditors, which it owes $1.2 billion to. So I'm very, very
Saagar's not one of those.
I will not be one of those. I wish I was in the top 10. I would not be one of those folks. But I do want to point out, and you found this article, let's put this Mother Jones piece up on the screen, because this is important. There were a lot of people who were not filthy rich, who had money on these crypto exchanges. They wanted to invest, and they lost everything on FTX, and now a lot of people also lost everything that they had on BlockFi. And what they point to are really majority younger men, much like me, 25 to 30 years old, who saw these not only enormous returns, but really, sophistication. They saw people getting rich. They saw, opportunities there that don't exist in traditional banking or even in equities markets. And they're like, hey, this is an opportunity to jump ahead in line on the system. This is my opportunity to buy a house. And, we could sit here and, cry for the SEC to not get 30 million, but it's a lot of guys who were trying to save up for a down payment, a mortgage, who looked at this as their life savings shot. And I'm not going to say, it's been a crippling blow, although it's still pretty bad for what I lost. But a lot of these guys, it was their actual life savings, which is gone, like 6 figures.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, you had people who really believed in the dream, who, like a lot of young people are looking at the housing market, are feeling like, I am never going to be able to afford to buy a house. They interviewed one guy who's trying to buy a home in his home city of Vancouver, which is one of the most expensive real estate markets in the entire world. And they thought, okay, this is an escape from the situation that I'm in right now. And they went all in. And, they particularly in this article, why I thought it was important and why I thought it was interesting and why I thought it was sad is because they tie it directly to people who are trying to buy homes.
Yep.
And they have some numbers here from Redfin finding that 1 in 9 first-time home buyers said that selling cryptocurrency helped them save for a down payment.
Wow.
8.8% of buyers in the third quarter of 2020 claimed they had used crypto gains to buy their houses. So the number of people who were using crypto gains as when the market was hot, when it was going up and up and up, was steadily increasing. And it makes sense because, I mean, we cover here, you have to have a 6-figure income now to afford the mortgage payment on your average American house. We've also covered how you need so much cash up front that basically if you aren't independently wealthy or you don't have parents who are going to give you a few $100,000 as your down payment, you're just screwed. Yeah. And so I can totally understand how people saw this as like, okay, I'm in this job, maybe I'm doing okay in the job, but I can never imagine how I'm going to get off of this treadmill and actually be able to start to build some wealth and just have the basics of the American dream of the house. And so they fall for the rhetoric, they fall for the hype, they end up going all in, and it's really sad. It just is really sad. They interviewed somebody here who, he hasn't told his wife yet. She didn't really know how much he had in. And they talked to somebody who normally was really on top of moving what he had around and making sure that it wasn't going to get lost. But he went out of town for a weekend. And in that time, FTX goes bankrupt and you're just you're done. So the level of just pain that this caused. With FTX alone, you had over 1 million people who, lost a huge amount of money, some of it really significant to them, some of that they thought was going to be what really changed their life. And they, were ultimately completely defrauded.
Yeah, I mean, look, on a personal level, this is a good lesson because, and let's put it up there on the screen. This is the exact dollar amount. It's $5,590. So I'll live, but it hurts. And the reason that I did this was greed. I mean, let's be honest, which is that at the time there was no asset paying 9% based. It was, you're looking at a company like this, you're like, hey, it can't go bankrupt. How's that possible? It's a multi-billion-dollar company. There's no way. What could go wrong? You're they're paying 9% interest. There's no bank account on earth that's paying 9% interest.
Too good to be true.
You don't want to put money in the equities. This was my thinking. I was like, well, you don't want to put money in the S&P 500 because that's volatile. You're that could go up and down. That's got 20-something% up, down. It's down 14%. You're this is safe. You're just sitting there. It's your cash. It's just earning interest on that. I wasn't doing any crazy leverage. But look, it's a good lesson that these FDIC and other institutions, they exist for a reason.
Yeah.
Very painful lessons that we all had to learn in the 1920s. And yeah, I mean, I think, I'm a micro. I didn't put my life savings in there. Although, at the time, when I invested all that was a lot of money for me. And that was one of those this is an important lesson to see. You're wow, the trust in the institutions and you buy into, oh, well, it's a regulated company, right? Even though they had their fine on the SEC, they have billions of dollars on platform, all this is all fake. It literally dried up overnight. It's gone.
Because it's ultimately built on nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, crypto is...
It's not pegged to anything.
It's not pegged to anything. I mean, it's literally just an invented currency. And I know people say, well, so is fiat currency. Yeah, but the American dollar is backed by the American government. It's a thing. We have an army. We have a Federal Reserve. We have a Treasury. We have a whole lot of people, paying taxes. There's a lot of stuff there. And you can use a dollar to buy goods and services, which never came to fruition in any real way with crypto. So the whole thing could sustain as long as you had people believing in the dream and getting more people in and more people in. And as long as the balloon kept inflating, it was fine.
Yeah.
But then the minute that, and this was, this was part of what exposed that some of the rhetoric around this wasn't true, the crypto was the first thing to collapse when the markets start to turn south. And that's counter to some of the rhetoric in the community. And so the minute that the air starts to come out of that balloon, it's just domino after domino after domino. And, this being sadly the latest one. Sorry,
Absolutely.
Saagar.
Let's go. That's all right. Look, again, it's one of those things where it's a lesson. At least I get to share it with everybody here. So don't fall for the easy schemes. And I have
some things are too good to be true. I mean,
it was too good.
It does come
it was.
down
I was
to
like,
that,
I couldn't
right?
believe. I cannot believe it's paying like 8 or 9% interest. Like this is nuts. And I was like, wait. So it's like you don't even have to risk it. You just put it in there and you get your interest on your money. Look, I got lucky. 2017, I bought Bitcoin, even where it is right now. I was long a believer in this. It was one of those things where it's like you literally couldn't exist outside of the in the equities market. So I fell for the hype, just like everybody else. And anyway, it's a painful reminder, but at least I get to share it with all you fine people.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.